Yo, what is good, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy Xblick right here with you guys with possibly the greatest video that will ever occur on this channel. What if Deku had a Skittles quirk? Anyway, I hope you guys do enjoy this. If you do, be sure to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Remember, all the links and everything down in the description. And yeah, remember Boy Saint as well, down there as well. But yeah, that's pretty much that. So just remember, God is awesome, you guys are too. And let's just get straight into this epic what if. Let's go! Now, where we're gonna start this story off is with Izuku Midoriya. With the story starting off, it starts off with Inko as she's in the hospital bed giving birth to Izuku. It's happening. She pushes and pushes out this small little child, but it's a bit weird. Its eyes are strange rainbow colors and his hair is glowing blue. As this happens, the doctor goes in to grab him as the baby grabs onto his hand. The doctor immediately fading away, only Skittles being left in his place. As this happens, the rest of the doctors kind of freak out with the doctors wrapping it up in kind of blankets and trying to not touch its hands. As this happens, they give it to Inko. As Inko takes hold of Izuku being happy and strange and grabs onto Inko's face. Her face slowly crumbling away as small Skittles fall from her cheeks as her face pretty much disintegrates, only leaving Skittles there to fall away in her place. As this happens, everyone else there are very just scared, frightened, and absolutely mortified. With this happening, Izuku, being the ripe chad of a child that he is, can already stand at the ripe age of 5 minutes old, standing up and dunking himself into the water, the holy bath water, as to clean himself off. As this happens, he then walks off, turning the water itself into Skittles with the rest of the bowl and the other things around it. The child, Izuku, then going around eating all the Skittles as he just swallows them up, but it's a bit weird because he doesn't choke on them. Perhaps the Skittles evaporate and just turn into a strange misty liquid form as soon as they enter his mouth, as to make sure he doesn't choke. This seems to be quite an overpowered quirk already. As this is all happening, Izuku walks away with an entire hospital building crumbling away, with Skittles being in the remnants. As it's happening, Izuku starts going around, him being able to live on his own for years. This all happening, Izuku runs out. He goes from the age of 5 minutes old to the age of 10. Or not even 10 years old, 5 years old, as he's going around, going to different countries, as he decides that, you know, Japan's pretty cool, but there are some places a lot cooler, as he decides to go southeast. Him going down to New Zealand. As he goes down there, he sees a bunch of really cool stuff that you guys should definitely go check out, since it's a pretty cool country. As he goes there, he goes to Napier and some other places around Hastings, seeing a strange thing called Hobbiton, which seemed to be a movie franchise. As he goes there, turning all the huts to Skittles, turning the rest of the natural monuments and everything else into Skittles as well, and pretty much taking out an entire country on his own. As this all happens, he then decides to head back him going into the water and finding a few sharks and other creatures. As he sees all these different creatures, he then turns them into Skittles, them turning into his own strange following sharks made of Skittles, pretty much just following him as he's able to manipulate them, them turning into these shark shaped Skittles and taking him for a ride. As he decides to touch the water starts to expand. Every single water molecule starting to turn, you guessed it, into Skittles. As this is all happening, he uses these Skittles as a wave to blast him back to Japan. As he arrives there, he goes around deciding that he should probably keep himself in check, as anything he touches turns to Skittles. As he tries to, go around to seek any help, no one will help them until a few heroes decide that this kid probably needs help, so they decide to go and help him out. They go down to see Izuku, him covering up his hands and making sure they don't touch him. One of the heroes going down and taking his hand before he's gone in the wind, turning into Skittles. The other hero completely mortified, calling a code red, and that there should be hundreds of police officers to bring this kid in. With this all happening, they decide that they need to bring him in using every dampening or strange cuffs or some sort of ability to turn off Izuku's quirk, them getting the kind of eraser hero eraser head to erase Izuku's quirk. With this all happening, they take him to UA High School, where Izuku, he is a pretty chillax child. They get him to use his quirk and to train with it to make sure that he doesn't mess around and turn an entire hospital into Skittles and destroy an entire country. As this is all happening, Izuku is then trained, everyone realizing that Izuku, as anything Izuku touches, turns into Skittles. It doesn't matter, he cannot turn his quirk off. Anything he touches with his hand, the slight scrape will turn an entire desk into Skittles immediately. As this is all happening, he finds multiple friends, him having to wear these strange gloves, which kind of counteract his abilities, them being made out of nanobots that are made out of Skittles. These Skittles stopping him from turning other things into Skittles. As this all happens, it goes further and further into the time until he is at the ripe age of 15 years old. Izuku, being an absolute chad and awesome at his ability, learns that if he eats all of his Skittles, or a bunch of Skittles, he can turn those Skittles into some enhancement abilities, making it so he can be super fast, strong, or durable. As this all happens, he also finds that if he creates a gigantic orb out of a Skittle, just a gigantic Skittle orb, he can shoot Skittles out of this orb like Emerald Splash from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures Part 3, if you've seen that. If not, it's kind of like a machine gun, but with Skittles. As this all happens, Izuku is a lot stronger, him being immediately put into the school as, well, it would be a bit rude if they were looking after him for how long? 10 years, and just decide, hey, you're gonna have to take the entrance exam like everyone else. And if you don't get in, well, that sucks. I guess the past 10 years have been for nothing. Yeah, that would probably happen. But anyway, so Izuku decides that he still wants to test himself, them giving him 20 0-pointers to fight. As this all happens, Izuku dashes forward, grabbing onto a gigantic rock, turning that rock into a bunch of Skittles, using these Skittles and eating them all, enhancing himself massively, his muscles bulking up and getting stronger, becoming denser and more refined as he blasts off at the speed of sound straight towards these robots, as he just goes around scraping them slightly with his hands, as by the time he arrives behind them all, they all fall like water, turning into Skittles. As this all happens, Izuku turns them all into this orb, which then, or creates an orb in his hand in which all these Skittles turn into, or go into, as he then brings the orb back into his hand as it disappears. This orb being the excess amount of Skittles that he can use. With this all happening, Izuku decides that, well, I guess that's enough, and the other heroes agree, realizing that this kid is unhinged. He's a bit crazy, really, deciding that he wants to, you know, just destroy things for the fun of it using his Skittles. If he decided to be a villain, the world would have ended a long time ago. As this all happens, Izuku waits a few more weeks until the first day of UA arrives. With this all happening, everyone arrives, with Bakugo being the annoying little guy that he is, and that all happening kind of like normal. As this all happens, Izuku and everyone else are taken out by Aizawa to go do the quirk entrance exam, or not quirk apprehension test. As this all happens, they then are tested with Izuku coming in first because he is awesome. Not having to use his actual Skittle power, just being able to create Skittles or pull Skittles out of his gigantic Skittle orb and eat them all, giving him a 1,000,000 times boost. So that he's pretty much like unstoppable. With this all happening, Izuku becomes a lot stronger, as he can kind of, you know, just being a lot cooler, with Izuku and everyone else waiting until it is the first day, or the third or something day of the schools. After this, they then have All Might arrive in their classroom, with him explaining that it will be a 2 versus 2 battles, heroes versus villains, with the teams being Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka versus Katsu Bakugo and Tenya Ida. With this happening, Bakugo explains that he's going to wipe the floor with this Skittle poo-poo. As this is all happening, Izuku decides that he needs to teach this kid a lesson. With this all happening, Izuku consumes a bunch of Skittles as he becomes stupidly jacked and extremely powerful. As the time starts, he blitzes forward, hitting Bakugo straight in the face as soon as he comes around the corner and smashing off kinda the glove on his right hand, with it not turning Bakugo to Skittles, but it could have, with him going flying. Deku then blasting up to the top of the thing as Ida jumps in, telling Izuku that he sucks and that he's a horrible person. Everybody in this school is horrible people because that's how I wanted it to be. Him explaining that Izuku shouldn't be here and someone with a destructive power like his should not be a hero, with him going at Izuku, explaining that it would be better if he just killed him right here. As this all happens, Izuku decides that enough is enough. Him putting up his hand and grabbing Ida by the leg with his gloveless hand. Him grabbing onto Ida, and Ida's leg just crumbles away, turning to Skittles, with him grabbing him with his other hand and Skittleifies Ida's face, throwing him away as Ida turns to Skittles. Bakugo, seeing this, gets enraged as he arrives up the stairs, blasting towards Izuku. With this all happening, he dashes forward, trying to explode Izuku, but Izuku puts his hand out as the explosion turns to Skittles as Bakugo's face hits Deku's hand. As Izuku's hand hits Bakugo square in the face as he grips it. Bakugo then disintegrating away into Skittles. Everyone there are completely mortified, with All Might charging him, telling him that he is just the spawn of the devil and that they should never have tried to save him and should have just left him out there on the street, as he goes in for a Detroit smash. As he goes in and punches Izuku, Izuku puts his hands out and blocks the punch, with Skittles, as the Skittles then surround All Might. All Might being completely encased in them like a little dome, with Izuku just walking through them like it's nothing. As All Might goes in for a punch, Izuku blocks it before gripping him on the chest, with All Might turning to Skittles. With this all happening, Izuku then realizes what he's done, freaking out and thinking like, why has he done this? What is wrong with him? As he then runs away, realizing that he has just turned the #1 hero and a bunch of students to Skittles. Him not knowing what came over him. Why did he do that? Has he got some evil being inside of him or something like that? No, it's just how the story went, and this is how I want it to go. So, as this all happens, Izuku is running away. As he is running, he gets into a portal runs into an alleyway with a bunch of heroes chasing after him. As he runs into this alleyway, he sees this strange purple portal as he runs through, seeing a man made of purple, misty, smoky stuff, and a strange man with a bunch of hands all over his body. This man saying that his name is Tomura Shigaraki and he wants his help, or more importantly, his master wants his quirk. As this happens, Tomura goes in to grip on Izuku, but Izuku just wipes up his hand. Tomura Shigaraki turning to Skittles as Izuku whacks him across the chin. Shigaraki turning completely to Skittles immediately. As this all happens, he is then revealed to be just a mud thingy. With this, I'm pretty much making it that twice is coming early because I can. So as this happens, they realize that, oh, this has just gone south very, very quickly. As this happens, All for One then appears, explaining that all he needs is his quirk and he shall be done with it. As he goes in to grip Izuku, he grabs Izuku by the head, him going in trying to steal his quirk. As he searches around for the quirk, he then sees something strange, some glowing, some strange colors, seeing that it's a bunch of rainbows. As this all happens, he then sees it being a strange figure. It's like the shape of Izuku, but completely rainbowified, as the figure appears in front of All for One, grabbing him by the throat as he slowly starts to decay. The only thing he hears before decaying away is, "Taste the rainbow!" before then being forced out of the thing, his mind being completely fractured and skittleified, as Izuku then grabs onto All for One's kind of throat and grabbing him by the jaw, him only saying, "Taste the rainbow!" before All for One disintegrates away into Skittles. Shigaraki, seeing this, is enraged. Him seeing this and like actually being in the room that time, just is completely furious. As he goes in, Izuku and Shigaraki both grabbing each other's hands at the same time. The only thing that's happening, it's pretty much being a struggle for dominance. Which one will take over? The decay or the Skittles? This being a complete joke of a what if and a April Fool's video, it is pretty obvious that the Skittles takes over. Shigaraki slowly seeing his hand slowly disappear and start to fall apart, only seeing rainbow and Skittles fall away from his hands as his hand starts to turn into strange colours, looking like that bridge from Thor. As this all happens, his hand slowly starts to disintegrate as he slowly turns to Skittles, then disintegrating away. Kurogiri freaks out, wondering what the hell is going on, before Izuku appears in front of him looking like a demon, grabbing Kurogiri by his suit and therefore by his metal piece as Kurogiri disappears. All him thinking is, why? I didn't even get to taste the rainbow. I guess this is what I get for turning away against the Rainbow King. With this all happening, the League of Villains is then destroyed, with Twice then being Taste the Rainbowified again. As this all happens, a bunch of heroes then storm the base. Realizing that Izuku is a threat to humanity, they decide that this is enough. They need to put this kid down. With a bunch of the heroes, Endeavor, Edgeshot, every single hero possible, since every single one of them are corrupt, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head, they all go crazy using all of their quirks, but all their quirks just turn to Skittles as soon as they hit a barrier around Izuku. As Edgeshot goes in to kind of stab into Izuku, he then finds himself turned to Skittles as soon as he goes near him pretty much disintegrating immediately, with Kamui Woods trying to restrain him, his wood then turning to Skittles and skittlifying. Izuku looking back, looking like a deranged dog of some sort, he then just loses it as tears start streaming out of his eyes, him knowing that he can't even die. All he does is just slam his hands on the ground, with the ground crumbling away. Izuku completely freaking out, not wondering what's going on, as the ground starts crumbling away. As soon as the kind of decaying Skittles start to reach the heroes, they then disintegrate the Skittles. As Endeavor tries to blast off with his fire, the fire then turns to Skittles as it reaches his foot then being skittleified before the rest of his body. As all the rest of the heroes, they are then being turned to Skittles, the same with everyone there. As this all happens, everyone is completely mortified, all the civilians, everyone, as Skittles start to surround everything, them touching the buildings. It's like a decaying effect, but with Skittles. As everything turns to Skittles, all the people, all the buildings, even the water, animals, everything decays until the entire world is just a gigantic red, blue, and multicolored cylinder, or kind of circular oval thing made of candy called a Skittle with a gigantic white S on top of it. The only thing standing on top is Izuku, the Skittle King, with anyone trying to take over his empire of skittleness being murdered immediately. All of the vacuum of space trying to, as the vacuum of space, even that tries to turn him or try to kill him, but even that turns to Skittles. Nothing is safe from Izuku's skittly wrath. The only thing that can defeat him is Skittles itself, but that can never happen as Skittles reign supreme. And that is the end of this video. Oh, I've completely lost it. I hope you guys did really enjoy this part. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, all of that jazz. Yeah, this is the April Fool's, whatever. And yeah, I just hope you guys did enjoy this part. Just remember, all the links and everything down in the description. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. All the links down in the description. My boy Saint for the music, and that's pretty much that. So just remember, God is awesome, you guys are too, and I will see you guys in the next video. And just remember, taste the rainbow.